today I can say alumni, I can say, can you hear me first, everybody?
Yes.
Yeah. It's my privilege, you can say, honor, you can say, to introduce Mr. Tarun Walia. And the thing is that he is BTech from Department of Biotechnology, a 2007 pass out. And Mr. Tarun actually has, I'll say, how do I say that? He has a lot of things. I don't know how to describe him in a very short time. He has worked in many global pharma, biotech companies, and not only worked there, he has a lot of experience in that. He has also worked in various facets of these companies. I mean to say that he has worked in R&D, he has worked in product management, he has worked as, or say that in the marketing. So that means he has a very versatile kind of personality, which is very, you can say, very rare to see. Okay. Now then, apart from that the main achievement, if I can say that, is a privilege to. He has been speaker for in TED for 2 times, and he has been moderator, or you can say coordinator of various pharma conclaves, various pharma industry conclaves. He has been a moderator and speaker for that. And to coming to the academic side, he is a researcher, or I can say he is a certificate. He has certificate course in immunology genetics from Harvard Medical School, very prestigious, one of the best schools in the world. Uh, he has also, I don't know what it means, but then he's also completed EPBF from IIM Ahmedabad, again a very prestigious institute of India in management. And he is also member of a, you can say that very high IQ, which you call that TOR, and he whose IQs are above 99.99 percentile. He is being member of that committee. So I don't know. He has worked in different continents, different geographies from America to Europe to Asia, and now he's in India, and now it's like it's a privilege to listen to him. He'll be speaking on a journey of alumni from ACE to a global stage, which I think will be beneficial to the students. So I'll hand over to Mr. Tarun Walia to give his what do you call that, guidance to the student and motivates us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mukesh Kumar. It's always a pleasure to be back and speak with folks at my alma mater. And again, as I urged before, I would again urge the folks to just have their video on. Otherwise, it just feels like I'm talking to 6, 7 people. So I would start only when I see majority of you have their videos on, because I want to keep it an engagement session, not like a speech which you can just hear on like lying on your couch. So let's just have our videos on, please.
All the students, please put on your videos.
You don't need to change your clothes or anything. I mean, you don't have to take a bath or anything. Just be online and have the video on. That's okay. Yeah, good one, Paramjeet. Good to see you. Others, please, as well. Shabash, Shivam.
If I don't, if I'm not interfering, Gurvinder, Jaspreet, Jatin, Vinayak. Hey guys, I know you all here. I've been teaching you since 1 year.
And guys, one thing I can tell you is you would not get this platform often. When I was in college, I really wanted someone who's like experience of 15, 20 years, come to me, answer my questions, and let me know what path to take. So don't shy away. Just have videos on, because I would want you to ask questions wherever I can help you. I deliberately did not create a PowerPoint because I wanted to talk to you guys. So, and hence it's important to have it's important to see you guys. Good, Sanchit, Pankaj, Gurvinder, very good. What about Pars, Sanjeev, Khushi, Muskan? Sorry, sir. I just want to make sure we have
No, no,
people.
fine, fine, fine. Satyam, Amisha, come on, guys. Chaitanya, Panchika, what I've been telling in the class, you should not be shy. Anirban, ki holo? Chaitanya, come on, guys, put on your videos. It doesn't look good. He's waiting for us. Divya, please put on a video. Sadhna, Mohit, Muskan, Srishti, Kushal, Prachi. You know what, Tarun? I have been teaching them for past 1 year.
Yeah.
So I don't know why they are not opening the video.
I'm just trying to make sure that they let go of that inhibition, because
Yeah.
and from a attentiveness perspective also, when we have the video on, we are far more attentive than when we are just listening to someone. So I do not want it to be just a listening session, and I'm here to engage with all of you, to answer your questions, to be with you guys. So it's important, and that's what I always do. I mean, I've spoken to like other schools as well, but I would love to engage with my alma mater most of any other school, right? So that's why I'm asking you guys to do that. And if you don't put your video on, I would assume that you are not interested in speaking to me. Chaitanya, Vanshika, Lucky, Abhishek, Harshita, Umesh, Govind, Sadhna, Mohit, Manisha. I see just the names of you guys. Sorry, Dr. Kumar. It may take 5 minutes, but I want to make sure we have the crowd with us. Okay. Can I speak to like one student maybe? What is the inhibition that people are not turning on the camera? Just to understand, what is the reason you want to keep camera off? Can anyone say something like Inderpal Singh? Do you want to say why people are not coming online?
One of the problem with Tarun, which I faced, was like they don't put their videos on, especially girls. They said we are not ready, so they 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 shy away.
And that's the one thing I wanted to make sure it's inhibited, but that's okay. Uh, I would waste much time. I mean, and shyness is bad. I hear what Inderpal is saying. I mean, that's not how you go to the global stage. So, but yeah, in any case, so I would begin. Thank you everyone for joining me today, and thanks for the ones who are keeping their videos off, because then I would not feel like I'm talking to a wall. I'm Tarun Walia. As Dr. Sharma said, I have. Uh, I'm an alumni of ACE. I graduated in 2007, and I have fond memories of 18 years back when I joined ACE. I was so our batch was the second batch ever, and so really fond memories. We only used to have just one building that time, and biotech was a up and coming field. And the one of the things, I wanted to share with you today is um, what worked for me, what can work for you guys, and how can you make a difference by whatever activities you are engaged in. So, and I would love to take questions from all of you, because if I had this opportunity where someone is coming, I would love to ask the person 20 questions about my career. So in the meantime, I'm speaking, have your questions ready, because I would love to engage in discussions, because that's somewhere you will see the most value. So so post the graduation, the first thing that happened was we were really struggling. I mean, the one thing was, okay, how to focus on the job search. Should we go for higher studies? Some of us chose that option. Some of that went to higher studies. Some of us thought, why not take this opportunity and grab a job search? And some of the companies did visit on campus in ACE. And I don't know what is the situation right now, but it was Dr. Reddy's that time. And then we made all the effort to visit a few companies, interact with a few companies. We had a very nice TPO that time. And fortunately, I got selected in a couple of them. And I was not at all the brightest student or the front benchers. I mean, I was, I would say, one of those who were mediocre academically, but I really had an urge to use the knowledge in interesting ways. So I joined a company called BioExcel, which actually came on campus, and it was focused on market research side of it. So there are various options you can take, once you graduate. One of the options is, again, I said, you can go for an MTech, you can go to the US or any other country and pursue higher studies. The other is an MBA, which is also a very nice option in case you are focused towards going towards the business side of it. And the third option is to enter industry, and in industry there are various options. If you are from the computer science and mechanical side of it, you can find different companies. If you're in the biotech side of it, you can either go in research, or you can go in the commercial side of it, like marketing and sales. And I think both are rewarding careers. I spend my times towards the commercial side of it majorly, and unfortunately got a chance to work with this company, which was focused on consulting. I don't know how many of you are familiar with what happens in consulting, but consulting is mainly an activity where you focus on the strategy or the strategic roadmap for any company for the next 20 years. Some of the major consulting companies are McKinsey, BCG, Bain. These are world famous companies focusing on interesting projects, which again focus on how a company should spend their money, how the company should spend their next 20 years, and in what area. So because of that, fortunately, I got a chance to work with a lot of global clients in the US, Europe, and other places. And then my CEO relocated me to the US, where I focused on business development. Again, I don't know how many of you are familiar with business development, but business development is an activity where you interact with various stakeholders in the industry, and you focus on getting business, and you focus on generation of revenue. So I engaged with that activity really strongly. And then I moved to two other consulting companies. And I came back to India, and I was placed as the global head for commercial operations for a bioinformatics company called Accelera, which was part of GVK Bio and was based out of Hyderabad. Uh, the company is focused on bioinformatics, data analytics, and I was handling their global operations, and which included Japan, Europe, and USA. And that gave me a very good opportunity to travel the world. I traveled to almost 20-25 countries to meet different clients, to understand what is happening in pharma, to understand what is happening in biotech. And it was really a fortunate thing to do, because I never thought that a small boy from Ambala would be able to go to such places and visit different countries. I had never imagined any of that, to be very honest. And the good thing was, because of that experience, I was able to get a very good grasp of what is happening in the global industry. And because of that, I got an invitation and an opportunity to speak at TED platform. I'm sure some of you would have heard of that platform, where people come and talk about their ideas. And if you've not heard of TED, it is TED. I would say definitely subscribe to it. It's an excellent platform to be updated with a lot of industry information. And next, I then moved on to a company in Mumbai, which is called EMA. And there I was handling their Asia Pacific consulting assignments, and in the leadership consulting space. And then I wanted to push forward, do something more with life. I applied to MIT Sloan. Again, I assume you would know about MIT. That's the number one university in the world. I thought, why not apply there and see if I can make it happen. And fortunately, I got through. So right now I'm pursuing a mid-career MBA, which is for people with more than 10 years of experience. And I am one of the Sloan Fellows, where they choose about 135 people from approximately 41 different countries. So I was fortunate to get that experience now, and I'm in the midst of it. So yeah, I mean, there are various things that worked for me. There are various things that did not work for me. Overall career, I'll be happy to talk about that. But before that, I would love to take up a few questions before we move forward on anything that I just talked about, anything that you have in mind. I would love to take up a couple of questions before I move forward. And please raise your hand and ask your question. Wow. No questions. I mean, either I was okay. Dr. Sharma has a question. Yes, sir.
Tarun,
Go ahead, Captain Sharma.
Tarun, what was your experience when you were speaking on TED platform? I know on the TED, the audience are in the dark at present. You are not able to look at them. But speaking at TED platform must have given you a tremendous experience. Could you share those moments on TED?
Absolutely, sir. That's a great question. In fact, I mean, if I have to be honest, it was very nerve-wracking. I mean, it was not easy because there were like 2,000 people and the spotlight is on you, and you have to rehearse it a day before. So something that worked for me was I went to the place one day in advance. I stood on stage just to make sure I can, feel the ambience around, and did like couple of practice talks there, practice speeches. Because what happens is there are no retakes there. There are, if you goof up, you goof up. So if you, because everything is recorded live and you cannot do and there is no time for any further practice. So the things that worked for me was a lot of preparation, and a lot of time focusing on my strengths. And the strengths can be different for different people. My strength was, if I have a like information written on a slide, I can speak and knit a story around it. So what I did was I created like 7-8 slides and had important information there, and that helped me create a thread to speak in front of everyone without stopping. The other thing we have to keep in mind there is that there's a time limit of 18 minutes. You cannot cross that no matter what. So often your speech will be disqualified if you go above 18 minutes. So you have to make sure you are just within that time. And often they're also rejected if they are less than 15 minutes. So you have to create something that is between 15 and 18 minutes, and create a story as well, because they don't just focus on content, they want to focus on the story. So it was a good experience, created that story and shared it with the world. But and your question also reminds me, more important than that, the even more I would say difficult moment in hindsight was when I was invited by ET Now, Mirror Now channel, for a live speech, and I was one of the panelists. Like, you speak in Republic, there are like 6 panelists, and they are contributing by talking over each other and fighting with each other. I mean, I was not doing that, but I was invited as a panelist there, and it was a live event. Uh, I thought, they would usually give a debrief before, and we'll have time to discuss the questions. But the other program ran over, and we straight away started our program. And I had a camera in front of me. The anchor had a different camera in front of her. And for a moment I was blank. I'm like, I don't even know what she will be asking me. And the topic was very broad, like what's happening in the economics side of it. Why is the GDP of India degrowing, and why do we have a dearth of jobs?
Are you talking about
So the
CNN?
topic, I'm talking about Mirror Now.
Okay,
it's a
Mirror,
news channel.
Times Now,
English.
Mirror, Times Mirror.
Yes,
Yeah, I watched them.
yeah, the English channel. Yeah. So I'll be happy to share that YouTube video. So I was a panelist there, and the initial, I would say, 15 minutes, I was quite stressed out, because there were like very esteemed panelists with me. But after 15 minutes, I was able to calm myself down, and what I realized is, when you have good content with you, it really helps.
True.
And that also worked when I was a panelist for some of the international conferences, because there also you are sitting with people who have 30 years of industry experience. Some of them are CEOs in big companies, like sometimes you are with the CEO of Lupin, or the CEO of some Reliance Life Sciences, or then there are some other companies, and you have to talk sense. So and then what I realized is, the taboo that young people know less is now going away. So if you are knowledgeable, if you can contribute well with your content, people do appreciate that. So often I was the youngest in that platform or in that panel, and it really gave me a good experience. And I would encourage more and more people to take up public speaking. And the one thing I can definitely tell you guys is, I was extremely bad at speaking, in public speaking, when I was your age. So if you want to start now, even now is not late, because there is no end to learning. I'm still learning as we speak. But the public speaking, expression in words, and being confident in front of the audience, or in front of the companies which are coming to recruit you, is extremely important. And that was one of the reasons I was asking you to keep the cameras on, because the confidence reflects with your actions. And I would want each of you to be extremely confident when you tackle these outside things and in the outside world. I see that Srishti is kind enough to ask a question. Who recommended you to TEDx or what motivated? So I got an invite, Srishti. So for at TEDx, you either you can apply or you get an invite if they think that you would have something to contribute. So I applied, I got an invite, and in fact, in my TEDx, in the talk that I did, one of the talks, some of the people were like really famous. There is an actor by the name Pearl Puri. I don't know if have you guys heard of that name, Pearl Puri? Say yes in comments if you have. He's the main actor of that serial Nagin. I mean, I don't know if you guys know that, but he was also one of the he was also one of the
You may be the first Asian. What I mean is alumnus from ACE to be on the TEDx.
Yeah,
I wish to tell all participants in this webinar that it's not easy to go on TEDx platform and videos recorded and they are available on YouTube. So guys, we are very proud to have Tarun, the Asian from 2007 batch biotechnology, who has done proud moments and learn from his life story so far that public speaking is also one of the very, very important aspect of life along with knowledge of your subject. Over to you, Tarun.
Absolutely, sir. I think you said it in the absolute right words that if you have content that's good, if you can speak well, that's good. But if you can do both, that's like a lethal combination. And everyone wants to be around people who has both the things with him. Yeah, and it's not easy, guys. I mean, the good thing was, fortunately, I got good mentors when I started work. I was really struggling with a lot of things, but my mentors were always there who would tell me, for instance, in biotech, and a lot of professors here would agree with me. It is very difficult to be expert at everything. That's why we have professors who are different for bioinformatics, to different from molecular biology, or different in biochemistry. And similarly, when you enter industry, there are various domains, and it's important that you identify, I like this domain and I want to be an expert here. For example, even within biotech and pharma, there are areas such as oncology, orphan/rare diseases, immunology, infectious diseases like COVID, and diabetes, metabolic diseases. So it's important to identify which direction you are going. And this is like a little specific to biotech, but also if you are in computer science, what language you are focusing on. Like Python and R are really coming back in a lot of ways. Do you want to focus on, say, statistics side of it, or you want to focus on testing side of it, or you want to build your own programs, and you like doing that? So it all depends, I would say, on what you want to do. And one thing I can assure you guys, no dream is big enough. And this is coming from a humble small town boy who studied right where you guys are studying. And I have walked those corridors a long time back, and I never thought any of this is possible. But one thing I can tell you is, if you can dream it, you can get it. So always dream high. Even if you'll not reach your dream, you'll reach a very nice place. So don't be satisfied with what you have. Always have that quest for learning. Always have that quest for achievement. And the world is your oyster. I mean, just go around it. And again, I'm here to answer your apprehensions. Yeah, Madhur, you have a question. I see there is another Walia. Good. Madhur, go ahead and speak. Can we unmute Madhur so he can speak?
Madhur, please speak. I have requested you to unmute yourself.
Thank you, sir.
Requested you to unmute yourself.
Thank you. I hope you can hear me now.
Yes.
All right. I actually wanted to ask you how you were able to land to a consulting job so early in your career, specifically without an MBA degree or a similar of that sort. Right after a technical degree specialized in BTech, biotech. And I was also hearing about your interview to Mirror now. So to me, it seems like the consulting job or the type of jobs you were in were not limited to just biotech, but also related to finance and economics as well. So how were you able to make that switch so early in the career?
Sure. So I will, before that, I have a question for you, Madhur. What is the reason you're keeping your video off?
The simple reason is that my my camera is not working properly. So even if I switch it on, you will see a gray screen. I'm happy to do that.
Okay, no worries. So, so the first question you had was how I was able to find my way in consulting, right? So I have a good story to share there, Madhur. In fact, it could have been the either way, that I could have missed out getting into consulting. And I faced a lot of disappointments in my fourth year, I would say. And maybe some of you can relate to it. So I was a mediocre student. I mean, I was not the topper. And when companies started to come, I never had a supply, or I never had to reappear for any exam. And I was also preparing for CAT for MBA. But yeah, what happened was Infosys. We went for an Infosys that group campus thing. I was really good at solving puzzles, and I cleared the cutoff. And then I realized I could not clear the cutoff for English. I was extremely bad at English that time. So that was out. Then a company came on campus, which is Dr. Reddy's. They had to select 4 students. They selected 4, and I was one of the 2 on the wait list. So in case any of the 4 do not join, I would join. That did not happen, of course, because all 4 joined. Then I applied for CAT. In Chandigarh, at least, I was one of the top 10 rankers that time. But in CAT, I forgot to take my watch. I scored like 99 percentile in both quant and data interpretation. But in English, I scored like 70 odd. So I did not get a call from any of the prestigious IIMs. Then I gave IIFT. I think I scored 26.75 and the cutoff was 27. And then I gave Symbiosis. I think I scored 92.5 and the cutoff was 93. Then I gave NMAT. I cleared the cutoff, but my form got rejected because I goofed up in some roll number or something, and they did not allow me to be there. Then what happened? BioExcel came. That was a it was not a consulting company that time. It was a market research company. They came on campus, and again, I was good with puzzles. A lot of puzzles were there in their question paper, and in and around, a lot of people, we solved it together. And then they went back. They started doing the second round of interviews, which was happening on phone because the company was based in Gurgaon. And so one day, I started getting calls from my friends. Hey, Tarun, we are getting interview calls from BioExcel. I got a call. I know you did better than me. You should be getting a call as well. I did not. At least like 5 people around me got a call. I did not get a call. And I was like, okay, I don't know what to do. And then suddenly one day, I don't know what came to my mind. I asked one of my friends, what's the number you are getting a call from? It was just, I could not believe that I did not get a call. I took that number, I called the company and I asked, my name is this and this. Can I know what happened to my, the question, or what happened to the result and that why I could not get through, like what was the cutoff and other things. They said, thanks for letting me know your number. We will get back to you. They never got back to me. Till a few days, 4 people to be on campus for the last round of interviews. I was not invited, of course. And then just one day before the interviews, I get a call from my TPO and he said, invited you as well. And I'm like, but I did not get a second round call. Why did they invite me? I thought it was a joke, but they did invite me. I did go to the interviews, and during the interviews, I asked them that, I did not have a second round of interview. What happened? So they said, Tarun, your call made the difference. When we got your call, we saw, let us see how much this guy scored. And what had happened was your paper was stuck behind another person's paper. So we didn't even check your paper. So my answer paper had got stuck. And when they checked it, I had scored the highest marks. So they did not even invite me they skipped the second round and directly invited me. And they said, we appreciate that initiative you took, that you called us and asked for what happened, because very few people would do that. And they hired me because of that. So that one phone call, if I had not done that, I would have not been where I am today. So sometimes, you do not realize how small actions can actually change your life. And if you think something is happening for a reason, there is always a reason behind it. I got a call from I am Lucknow, but unfortunately, because of something, I went late for the interview and I was rejected, even after doing so well in CAT and everything. But later on, now I realize if I would have gone for I am Lucknow, I would not have been to I am Ahmedabad and to MIT. I know Captain Sharma has a question there. Sorry, you're on mute, sir. Sorry, you're on mute. You're on mute, sir. Captain Sharma, you're on mute.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Yes.
I said 2 things emerge from this, what you said, is the self-confidence and the initiative. Generally, we lack in this.
Right.
So here, the youngsters, the students must realize what could be the result when you are self-confident, you know how you have performed, and then you have got a resolve to take initiative to ask the company, to ask the institute, what has happened to my result. So this is the crux of what you
Absolutely.
said. Thanks.
Absolutely, sir. And what one thing I've learned over time is, if you would not ask, you would not get it. There is no harm in asking something, and people appreciate when people ask and get opinions, get thoughts. So that has served a lot in my life. I used to be really inquisitive. I used to ask a lot of questions from people, and which has served really well in my life. So Madhur, just coming back to your question, so that helped me move to market research, and after that it was just hard work. So market research is a step below consulting. When my seniors saw me that I was doing well in market research, they promoted me to consulting. And when the CEO saw that I'm doing well in consulting, he promoted me to lead the US business development. So you can enter anywhere, but with your hard work, you can reach wherever you want to. And talking about the second question you had on the things apart from biotech. So the reason I was invited at Mirror Now was because of my colleagues as well. My CEO said that, why don't you represent us and be there? And the reason again was, one, I always had an interest of things other than just work. So I would continue to learn other things, be it economics, be it finance, be it anything else, which will help me in life. So I did a lot of such activities right track. So that really served me well. Yeah.
Awesome. Good journey, sir.
Sure. Any other questions? I enjoyed answering Madhur. I would enjoy answering others as well. Whatever is in your mind, whatever you think, you have a doubt, industry doubt, because again, saying the same thing again. If I had these opportunities 20 years back, I would ask at least 10 questions from the person who's coming and answering. So please take this opportunity, because often you would not get this opportunity. And even if the professors have any questions, I would be happy to answer from the industry perspective, any perspective. Um, Happy to answer.
Post Corona, yeah, post COVID-19, where do you see the global, our pharma industry, Indian pharma industry going vis-a-vis global pharma industry?
I would say that's a very good question again, sir. So there is a big difference between the global industry and the Indian industry. And I see Ashavan sir there. I want to say hello to him. I've seen him like after 18 years. So yeah. And yeah, so speaking about the um Indian pharma is majorly right now focused on generics. And the big difference between generics and the innovator molecules is that innovator molecules come with a life of their own. Like, you get a patent for about 20 years, and the pricing is higher. These are innovative drugs. But in India, majorly companies focus once the patent has expired. So guys, I mean, these topics are really important. I think you have a course on intellectual property rights. uh, do understand the concepts there really well, because they would serve you once you are in the industry. And so I see growth in India in one other segment, which is the chronic diseases. Chronic diseases are the diseases where, for example, diabetes, which happen over a long period of time, and you need constant therapy for that. Lifestyle, we are not eating well. We do not have a good fitness regime. So diseases such as obesity, uh, cardiovascular, and then other chronic diseases such as diabetes. That's something where I see a lot of growth happening. And of course, vaccines is something where lot more companies will focus on now. The one thing I would love India to do is, focus more on newer therapies such as gene therapy. I don't know if there is a course on gene therapy, and if not, I would urge some of the professors to cover gene therapy as well. And some CRISPR Cas9 newer technologies which are there outside India. But from an India perspective, focusing on manufacturing, focusing on upscale, and bioprocess engineering is really helpful. I know a few alums who are now managing, say, breweries, because they did very well in that microbiology and bioprocessing classes. So yeah, it all depends on what the interest is. But I see the global and the Indian industry heading in very different ways right now. Is my internet connection okay? I mean, are you guys able to hear me fine? Perfect.
This is okay.
Awesome. Awesome. Any other thoughts? Any other questions, guys? Madhur, go on. I like you. Can
Thank
we
you.
unmute Madhur?
Thanks.
And
Sir, I'm
Madhur,
gonna be selfish. Sorry,
before
go ahead.
before I say anything, I don't know how much you are scoring in exams or where you are in the class, but I know for sure you will succeed in your life because you have that initiative in you. So keep up that work. And I'm extremely disappointed with a lot of others who are just not asking anything. Guys, this is your time, this is your opportunity. Just have that initiative. Don't be shy. No question is a bad question, because if you will ask, you will know the answer. If you will not ask, you will never know the answer. So have that initiative in you. Go on, Madhur.
Thank you. My bad. I should have introduced myself a bit before. I'm actually a 2015 graduate from this college,
Ah,
Electronics and Communication. Uh,
nice, nice.
yeah, so I have a follow-up question, and I'm gonna be a bit selfish here, asking about my career path, which I'm pretty sure will resonate to others on this call as well.
Okay.
Since you have touched base on MBAs in India, IIMs, and outside as well with MIT now, what do you propose after a career of, let's say, 4, 5, 6, 7 years, an MBA degree in India with, let's say, an executive PGP course through any IIM, or go global and try the Ivy League colleges, which are not easy to crack? Um, and as you said, you were amongst the 135 participant selections out of so many odd countries. I'm pretty sure it'll be really difficult to crack that as well. But what's your recommendation for a job that is not exposed to global tenures? I mean, I'm into an IT, and most of the engineers that pass out of electronics and computer science or IT are based out of a typical office job if they are not into a manager position, or let's say into a consultant position. So they don't really have to get a lot of global exposure. What would be your preference for an MBA degree for a job of that nature?
Good question, Madhur. My preference would be, if you are fresh out of college, if you have less than 3 years of experience, then go for an MBA in India. Target the IIMs, give CAT, and go for that. But if you have an experience of more than 5 years, then it may not be the best use of your time and money. In that case, I would recommend a good B school outside India. And getting into the top 5 or 7 is extremely hard. I would not deny. I mean, hardly they take like 5 to 10 people from India. So the competition is extremely high, and you're dealing with all the folks who are coming out of IITs, and they get that advantage of the brand. So it's hard. I would not deny it. But a good GMAT score can help you go a long way. And the second thing is, you can also target these schools which are ranked top 30. You don't have to be in the top 5, like the Harvard, Wharton, MIT, Stanford. They are extremely competitive. But you can target some of the other schools. And then, if you want to share your resume, feel free to add me on LinkedIn. Let me share my LinkedIn ID, and you can ask any questions, or you can forward me your resume. I will answer your questions specifically, because it's more specific to your case.
Right.
And just one second. I'm just sharing my ID with you guys. Yeah, and I see, um, Madhur, it also depends on where you want to be long term. Do you want to be in India in long term, or outside India? So it also depends on that. Okay, so Rajvinder asked, what was your idea at the TEDx platform? So again, good question. I gave 2 TEDx talks. The first was focused on the scientific side of it, where the topic was really appreciated by a lot of folks. It's called, and I think Captain Sharma has that link, and he can share with you. The topic was the future of biotechnology and artificial intelligence. So how do you use artificial intelligence in biotechnologies, and what are the ways you can go about it? The second topic I focused on was on the philosophical side of it, and the topic was the space within. By the space within, I mean how to. There is so much going on in the world. How can we make sure that we keep our own self ahead of the curve, and both spiritually, philosophically, and use the brain power that we have. There are a few books I can recommend. I mean, one book I really love is The Power of Subconscious Mind. You can definitely go read that book. And if you're interested in mindfulness or how to, maximize the power of your mind, there is a book by the author Daniel Kahneman, who happens to be a Nobel laureate as well. I'm forgetting the name of the book, but the author is this, and he's a Nobel laureate. Amazing books he's written, and you can really benefit. I feel from this topic. The other thing I see is what are the challenges you faced while working in different countries or in different fields. Again, excellent. Um, I think the major challenge was how do I so my major challenge was communication. I'll be very honest. When I moved to Gurgaon, uh, the people I found there used to speak excellent English, and that really motivated me to be ahead of the curve. You would not believe, guys, there were times when I would just sit in a room and practice speaking English, and I would speak anything like there is a cup, there is a jar, there is a table, whatever comes to my mind, and I would speak in front of the mirror so I get that confidence of speaking. That went a long way, and you can see the results now. It happens over time, right? And then even when I was working with other countries such as Germany, France, Spain, Portugal, Sweden, US, the one thing that worked for me always was being genuine or being honest in your approach. uh, Everyone appreciates if you're honest, if you're genuine, you keep their cultural aspects in mind. So one thing I would do is, say if I'm visiting Sweden, I would just read about Sweden, like what are the things they eat, what are the kind of sports they play, so I can engage in conversations with my clients there. What are the major cities, what are their likes, what are their dislikes. Similarly, when I moved to the US, I realized that a lot of people talk about NFL, a lot of people talk about basketball, and the baseball. The first thing I did was I learned the rules, how the game is played, what are the major teams there, and just improved myself through learning every day. And I'm a huge proponent of exponential learning. So the idea is, even if you learn 1% every day, that can go a long way rather than just standing where you are. And the way to learn is, again, ask whatever you have in mind. And again, that brings me back to what else you have in mind. Okay, so I got a question. Okay, Dr. Sharma has a question first.
Yeah.
I'll answer this question.
Okay, Tarun, see, if you have worked in a diverse fields in different countries, in different companies. So, what do you suggest? What is right? Like whether you should work in a one particular domain and grow in that, or you should diversify yourself. Because sometimes you diversify yourself, and then suppose you go to a particular company, and then they'll ask you what's your specialty. But because you have worked in different aspects, you cannot say that okay, I'm good at that, or you're like, so what do you suggest? Whether I should focus on one particular domain and then work upon it?
Sure. Thank you, sir. So, what worked for me here was I was focused on one area, but I learned about other areas. So, I focus my, so it's like going deep in one area. I focus my resume there. I focus my experience there. But I also made sure that I'm familiar with what's happening horizontally. Because when you are in conversations, you want to show that depth, but you also want to show that I know other areas. So build your resume vertically, but build your experience horizontally.
Okay.
And,
Yeah.
and
So you should be
and then
more of a versatile person. You should be more of a versatile person, knowing your subject, but you should learn other things also around it. Okay. Thank you. Thank
absolutely. I mean, I'll give you an example. I'll give you an example. I mean, I just have this craving for learning. When I used to go to Spain for meetings, I realized, Spanish is a nice language. So I learned Spanish.
you. Yeah. Okay.
I can converse in Spanish a little bit. When I went to France, I felt like, oh, French is also good. So I learned a bit of French. I'm not an expert there, but at least I can, speak with the drivers, the autowalas, and like little bit that my client will feel happy. And so learning never stops. So this
Yeah.
is like an example. I would not be a French or Spanish professor, but I know little bit of it. So where I need it, I can showcase it.
And one more question, if you don't mind. Like, what do you think about the AI in biology? Like, now, what's your because India is when we see India is a lot of progressing in AI things, but in a different field altogether. So, how do you see like India is going to use AI in especially in biology? Because this is something which is very interesting, and I personally am very much interested in this field kind of.
So I'm just I'll just share a slide on this, sir. Um 1 second. Can you share my screen?
No.
Okay. Can you guys see my screen?
Not yet.
1 second. Okay. So I'm sharing this presentation. Let me know once you are able to see my screen. Can you see it now?
Okay, yeah, I can see now. Yeah.
Maybe you have to remove the, I don't know, the pin.
This is okay. Please go
Yeah,
ahead.
remove the spotlight. Can
We
you
all,
see now?
yeah, we all can see.
Others can see as well? Awesome. So,
Yes,
so
we are able to see this.
this is my actually TEDx presentation that I delivered. I started with these lines of Eleanor Roosevelt.
It's not moving.
Those who believe in this is the path to approval for any drug. I'm sure you'll be very familiar with this, and it's about 15 years for any drug to come to market. There are 7 P's of the healthcare ecosystem: patients, providers, pharma companies, pharmacy chains, payers, policymakers, and patient advocacy groups. The reason right now artificial intelligence is coming into play is because of these 4 things. The first thing is technology, where you have computational power, machine learning, problem solving. On the right, you see data is coming together. There's a lot of data out there. On the left, you see analytics capabilities, and on the bottom, there is digital health that is coming up. So there is a lot of data you can get from a lot of sources. I'm sure you'll be familiar with a lot of these, say in genomics, proteomics. And then these are the major areas which I've identified where you can use AI in pharma. The first is discovery of compounds. Like, you can do high throughput screening using AI. You can do drug repurposing. You can look at the polypharmacology of drugs. Then the second area is drug development. You can identify biomarkers. You can do personalized medication. The third is novel technology areas, wherein you can do gene editing, CRISPR, or diagnosis of various diseases. And on the bottom left, you have healthcare delivery, where you have patient compliance and packaging. By patient compliance, I mean it. I have a very good example for that. For diseases, you can get those pills which can automatically detect whether the patient has taken the pill or not. And on the basis of that, you can predict in the future what kind of patients will take therapy and what kind of patients will not. So this is a hand-in-hand approach, and actually this is relevant for people from all domains. People from biotech can come from the right-hand side, where they focus on biological science, the pathways, the diseases, the biological insights, experimentation, and the people from computer science, the data science background can come on the left-hand side with data gathering, data insights, building those models for AI, machine learning, and tools. And I think I would urge a lot of collaboration between computer science, electronics, and biotech there, because the data teams and biological teams can come together and build something fantastic. Quote that I end my presentation, TEDx presentation, I ended up with this quote. And this quote was actually selected by Economic Times 10 years back as the top quote among 10,000 quotes that they got. And it says, "The world is awaiting its future leaders. It's up to you to realize the challenge." So if you think you can be the next future leader, you can be. You just have to realize it.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Sure, my pleasure. And I'm glad you asked that question. So I shared the presentation, if that was of help. I see a question on, in this COVID era, what would you suggest to students either to do job or higher studies after completing graduation? Again, I think it's a personal choice. Higher studies are always good. And if you have dreams of doing a PhD, then go for it. But I would say if you're doing a PhD postdoc, prefer doing it in a global scale, like maybe Europe or US, if you really want to get that global access. If you're joining a company, join at a role which you would enjoy or where you would learn. And again, it's a personal choice. I remember a lot of people from my biotech batch actually joined in companies such as Infosys. So they pivoted and they learned coding and they entered that area. There are a few who remained in biotech and they continued learning. So it all depends on what your life goals are, and I can take specific questions on that. But COVID or no COVID, I think learning should never stop. So higher education is always a good idea. Okay, so any other last questions before we wrap it up? I would love to take that. I hope this was helpful for you guys, and I hope you were able to get a good sense of what's happening in the industry. Any other parting questions, guys?
So if there are no more questions, then I know people are going to miss the chance if they are not going to ask questions. That's for sure. Short. I would like to thank Tarun for taking out his valuable time and spending and motivating us. The crux of the his talk, I'll say that when you see a Tata Sky ad, कि पूछने में क्या जाता है, that was an ad which used to come on that. So I always that ad, Tarun, I believe me, they used to fascinate me a lot. कि पूछने में क्या जाता है, and that's what you told today itself. कि भाई you should ask questions. If you don't ask questions, then भगवान मालिक है. मैं तो ये बोलूँगा because पूछने में कुछ नहीं जाता. And I'm really thankful to you, Tarun, for motivating our students, for telling what all they can do, and seeing you getting motivated from you, I'm very sure the students will take up their course, make up their mind, and will at least ask questions in class. If teacher is teaching them, at least they should start from there, asking questions in the class, and move ahead in their life. Thank you so much.
Sure.
And as a token of appreciation from our side, I would like to give you a certificate, e-certificate, you can say that. Wait.
So I see that I have a question from Jaspreet.
Oh,
In the
okay,
meantime, I
okay,
can
okay. We'll take that.
you pursued higher education after graduation. So I wanted to pursue higher education right out of college. I could not because I only wanted to be in one of the top 5 or 10 schools. I did not get through IIM at that time, so I gained some experience and then went for higher studies. So it all depends on what you want to do. There is no right and wrong answer for this, but yeah, I mean, so if your goal is to be at the top, then join a school when you are at the top, be it right after college or after a few years. But I think gaining a few years of experience really helps in getting a perspective about the industry. And I see another question on had any negative thought in your career journey to give up on something like in case of any failure. Uh, I had many failures in life. There is no way you cannot have failures. There were times when I would just feel like crying. I'm like, what am I doing with myself? So the thing is, it's always in hindsight. It's a learning. So as Thomas Alva Edison also said, before he understood how to build a bulb, he understood 99 or 100 different ways of how to fail or how not to build a bulb. So same is true for me as well. There's nothing without failure. I got a very important piece of advice from one of my mentors early in my career, and I think I can share that with you. It really helped me for last many years, and that was when I was disappointed. I would feel very down. My work would suffer after a failure. I'm like, why did this happen? I'll think about it. So just one thing he told me is, Tarun, the people who grow the most are the ones who deal with their disappointments the fastest. Disappointments will come, but there is no point in thinking about why this failure happened. Just knock it over, move on. If you fall down, get up again, move on. So and success is just about standing up one more time than the number of times you fall down. That's success. So don't be afraid to fall down. The only thing you have to do is not stay there and stand up. So those are two things that really helped me a lot throughout my career.
Any more questions? Yeah. But Tarun, yeah, we would definitely like, whenever you come here, we will definitely like to meet you personally and motivate a student also. So I know this is a digital age where we can talk on the what do you call that, on the net, but personal touch is always a personal touch. So we
Absolutely.
do like to you come to the Ambala College and then meet personally.
Absolutely. I would definitely love to do that as well. And
Sure.
one thing I would definitely urge a lot of people and even the teachers that that build that culture and that habit where people ask more questions or people are more upfront, because hiding behind a screen is good, but the world you will not be able to hide. If you are hiding, then you will be left behind. So be upfront, ask whatever you can, and just have it as part of the culture. Like, you can ask questions randomly from people just so they build that habit of speaking up. So yeah, that's just thought I'll share.
So then I'll share my screen. Wait. Uh, Yes. So this is the we would like to give you as a token.
Thank you so much.
As a e-certificate, because we cannot see, this is a drawback of online or whatever you call that. Something is, it needs a personal touch, should be with a personal touch.
Yeah,
So
that's okay. I mean,
so
I would love to pay a visit next time I'm in India and meet all.
yeah.
Tarun, on behalf of college and our management and all staff, we wish you a great time in US. I believe you are leaving next month, and we will love to see you when you are back in Ambala, whenever you wish. It is your own institute.
Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you so
Absolutely.
much.
And Captain Sharma, I want to take this opportunity to thank Captain Sharma as well. I was struggling with some of my transcripts, and his help was immense that time. So thank you so much for helping out alumni like us. And I do want to
Always
mention that I
welcome.
really appreciate that.
Always welcome.